Well, hello. I hope everyone had a wonderful Christmas. I had a little feast with my two cats. My grandma's in the hospital. Luckily, she didn't have to have her foot amputated, so I'm very thankful for that. Today I'm going to talk a little bit about Washington, B.C., and yes, I mean B.C. There's supposedly some sort of guy, and it's probably a corporation with the elites. He's claiming to be the Maya son, and is after the Callies now, or the low caste members that are going to jump up at him. I'd like to say that he is not the first one to play magical music and claim to have governing power over the elements. And it's just like I really need him to express to me his desires, and or we need a contract or something, and or I need a restraining order. Okay, second off, I'd like to say that I've just thought a lot about jealousy, because if you don't know that much about me, you don't know that I used to have a really big problem with jealousy. And I've been thinking about it and how it enslaved my mind. And now that it's gone, along with half my mental function, it's easier for me to take a look back from it. But I still would have liked some of my mental function. I'm basically saying that we should do the psychotronic stuff together because, yeah, and jealousy is totally normal for people too. And some people are okay with jealousy, but for me, it was interfering with my life and it was enslaving me to people. Basically, like, oh, why does she get that or why does he get that? And I should get something, shouldn't I? Well, okay, but sometimes you just don't get stuff, and I've learned that throughout my life too. And I learned that the most in the military, and we were given a fair chance at things. If you had a high PT score, if you did well at your job, then you'd get promoted and you'd move up the ranks and you would earn more work usually, but you could get a few privileges too, and be able to get a pension after 20 years and that kind of stuff. I got mine early, but I consider it more like workman's comp because that's what happened. Okay, number 3. The amazing future of disabled people. Now, if you don't know, I compare the U.S. and Russia against each other for human rights sometimes, and I also like to look at different countries, like South American countries that have colonies for disabled people, and kind of reason through that too, because we obviously can't function in society, and we see this with people like the Mayan son, the hotshot, who's claiming to be some ancient god, whatever, and playing music. I would just like to say we don't have bright futures, and I've always looked at the U.S. criticizing Russia for putting them in institutions. Russia is a poor country, so they're not as nice, but even in the U.S., they've had a really hard time putting us in nice places, or at least decent, because even with the money and stuff, it's just like they want to see us suffer, and I've noticed that a lot with people in the U.S. I've always wondered why, they even bother paying low-class people, and I'm not saying low class is in their demeanor. I'm saying basically like why the people with very little money, why do they pay them? Why don't they just give them food, a car, and a place to stay? Like kind of like basic. I don't understand what the purpose of paying them is. I've been down there and it's like impossible to earn anything. So you're like, whatever. But I didn't work years upon years upon years upon years. So I'm not going to, take away everything there. Yeah, so basically we're not going to have careers. I don't know why they're talking about how scandalous it is that Russia isn't making a future for its disabled people. We have no future. We have today, and we kind of just, like, do whatever we do. I am a hot target for things, which is very annoying, and it's why I think we should be separated and just, work in little factories or take care of each other. Like, if I were to go to an institution, I might be able to help someone who is worse off than I am, and that would be my job. Okay. Mental illness for disagreement. Now, if you know me, then you know that I do have a mental illness, and sometimes it has been a problem, especially in the past when I get confused. Now I mostly have problems with med problems, hibernation, or it's a type of depression where I just lose all my energy and all I want to do is sleep. Part of it is from brain damage too. If I get too exhausted with my brain, I have to sleep for a few hours and there's nothing I can do. And that usually happens like if I try to read ancient plays, especially. I don't know what it is, but yeah. Yes, and mental illness, they use it as a form of a disagreement. So if you say something like, wow, let me think something. Russia seems to be really perky today. I don't know. And they'll say like, oh, you're crazy because Russia's a dead place where there's no activity. And I'm just kind of thinking of that still with the institution, and my brain isn't really moving on here. Okay, so basically if you disagree with someone, they'll say you're mentally ill, which is ridiculous. Okay, well, that's all today. I hope you had a good time. Happy New Year.